What's up, YouTube? It's me, Chocolate, and I wanted to briefly go over, spoiler alert, the Blood Moon PvP rewards for Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. Spoiler alert, the Paladin items are the coolest. So, Druids. Druids have a chance of a choice of a Nature or Arcane offhand, which is going to be the Enchanted Sanguine Grimoire, a two-hand mace for feral, and a trinket for healing, but it sacrifices your own health. I don't think this one people are going to take. Instantly heal a target for 300, but sacrifice 300 of your own health in return after 2 seconds. Maybe in like a really specific situation you would use that, but I feel like doing damage to yourself is probably not ideal. The Bloodbark Crusher. Let's take a look at this one. It's a big mace. This is a big mace, dude. That's big. It has great stats. 17 strength, 11 agi, 6 stam. This is like a cat's best, a cat and a bear's best mace. Like, pretty much that I've seen so far. It adds 5 Storm Strike damage to your melee attacks, damaging the target and its nearest allies, affecting up to 3 targets. Causes additional threat. So this is a mace that has an on-use ability. On your next attacks for the next 20 seconds, it's going to do cleave. It's going to cleave the abilities. So for bear tanks, having a nice cleave is going to be beautiful. This is really good. And for druids, for feral druids, just for DPS, very good. It's going to cause you to have more threat, but threat is not your problem as a DPS player. That's the tank's problem. Make it be their problem. Hunter gets a bow, a trinket, a quiver, and an ammo pouch. So it looks like the ammo pouch and the quiver are not unique equipped, or they're not unique one. So if you see here, it says unique equipped Blood Moon 1. So you can only have one of these items equipped at a time. So the Bloodlash bow is just a red bow. It actually kind of looks pretty cool. I think bows are really cool in WoW. I think they're some of the coolest items. So that's a pretty cool one. It's, it's nothing. Mages get the short end of the stick. Deservedly, too. They deserve it. They get 3 rings. So it's either Arcane, Fire, or Frost Spell Power Ring. That's it. It's kind of boring. I really wish that they would have had like a staff. That would have been really cool. Now we're getting to the good part. Paladin Blood Harvest items. Paladins have the choice of 4 items, 2 trinkets, a 2-hand sword, and a 1-hand sword. Now, this is the 1-hand sword, the Eclipsed Bloodlight Saber. It has 4 stam, 4 int, increases damage done by holy spells and effects by up to 14. That's pretty good. Is it only damage though? Interesting. This is probably going to be really good for a tank. Just like if you're going like pure prot tank with sword and shield, probably a pretty good sword. Because you get the end, you get the stam, and you get holy power damage. So your consecration is probably a little harder, that kind of stuff. This is the trinket with the AoE damage. Unleash a delayed explosion of blood and light, causing 150 twilight damage to all targets within 10 yards. It has a 5-minute cooldown. That's pretty good for like dungeons. I think people would rather opt to get the 2-hand sword and just use Divine Storm. Because that's good enough for AoE damage. This one is instantly heal a target for 300, but sacrifice. So it's very similar. It's the exact same thing as this one. So the Druids, the Blood Bonded Grove Talisman, and the Bloodlight Offering are the same item. Heal a target for 300, but sacrifice 300 of your own health. Boring. No one's going to use that. Now, the creme de la creme, the S tier, the #1 Paladin, the #1 item out of this entire list. Bloodlight's Avenger's Edge. Ooh. A 2-hand sword, 3.6 speed, good speed, 175 top end damage, 15 strength, 14 stamina. Increases damage done by holy spells and effects by up to 24. So Divine Storm and Crusader Strike are going to be hitting like a truck. And just look at this thing, dude. Just look at this. Let's take a look at it on a human. Because base human paladin. Dude. That thing is huge. Oh, dude. This thing in battle, man. It doesn't look like a paladin weapon at all. But it's badass. And I love it. Like, this sword, dude, is absolutely turbo busted. Turbo juiced, turbo busted, dude. Oh, it's so good. Best sword in the game. Best clip of the day. Okay, anyways. Priest blood harvest items. This is for my wife. Priest can choose between a healing power ring, a shadow spell power ring, and a healing trinket. So no gear other than trinkets and rings. Kind of boring. But they have increases healing done by spells by up to 13 with 8 stam, 7 int, 7 spirit. Pretty good. Increases damage done by shadow spells and 3 mana, 3 MP5. 3 mana per 5 seconds. That's good. You want all the mana you can. Sanguine Sanctuary. Instantly shield a target for 300, but sacrifice 300 of your own health. I feel like they're doing like there's a theme with these weapons that any kind of like trinket or special on-use item, if you're giving to somebody, you're also taking away from you. It's kind of it's very like thematic and cool. I just don't think people are going to use these very much, and I could be wrong. Daggers, rogues. They have the Blood Harvest Blade, the Blood Splattered Stiletto, and the Swift Sanguine Strikers. So they have a 1.9 speed dagger, a 2 speed offhand dagger, and a 1.4 speed offhand fist weapon. So let's take a look at these. So this is the offhand. It's just a squiggly boy. Very cool. This is the main hand. It's just a stabby boy. And then you have a furry paw. Cool. Rogues, I'm sorry. You didn't get very cool looking weapons. Shaman. Shamans have the option between an AoE damage trinket, a healing trinket, a spell power shield, and a 2-hand mace with a knockdown effect. Interesting. So, the Bloodstorm Barrier. It's a shield with 5 stam, 8 intellect. Increases damage and healing done by magical spells and effects by up to 14. Very good shield. It's a horde shield. It's a big red horde shield. It looks cool. I'm all for it. The Bloodstorm War Totem. It's a 2-hand mace with a knockdown effect. Knock a target silly for 2 seconds. Has 12 strength, 8 stam, 10 int. Huge for those 2-hand shamans. The Wind Fury spec. And it looks like a big poop. Torn. It's big. It's big and it's beefy, and I'm here for it. Let's take a look at the attack. Yeah, you just have a big old stick, and you're just bunking them, dude. You have a big stick, and you are bunking. Imagine this. This is coming at you. Full speed, full intensity. You see this face, you're going to get knocked silly. The Ancestral Bloodstorm Beacon. Unleash a delayed explosion of blood in nature causing... Okay, this is very similar to the Paladin one. So, Paladins and Shamans kind of share very similar type of things. And then the Jewel is the same thing. Heal an ally for 300, but sacrifice 300 of your own health. Let's see. Warlocks also just get a Shadow Spell Power Ring, a Fire Spell Power Ring, and an AoE damage trinket that improves your or an AoE damage trinket that improves your pet's stamina and intellect. That's pretty strong. I think Warlocks, because of their pets do so much damage for them, I think most Warlocks are gonna choose this trinket over the rings, in my opinion. Maybe like if you're like a tank Warlock, you're going to choose the fire damage because you're going to want to be spamming Incinerate or Searing Pain, I think is what it is. I don't know anything about Warlocks. I could be very wrong. Last but not least, Warrior. Warriors have the chance of a slow 1-hand mace, good for tanking, a 2-hand mace with crit strike, and a main-hand sword with an AoE damage proc. Oh, very cool. Okay. So we have the Sanguine Skull Crusher. This is the 1-hand slow mace. It's a 2.3 speed, 10 strength, 6 agi. Good stats. And it looks like a stick with a skull. It's a skull with a stick and there's spikes. Very warrior type. The Sanguine Crusher. 2-hand mace, 18 strength, 12 stamina. Improves your crit strike by 1%. And it looks like a big stick with a skull. On an orc, it's a big green orc stick. Very cool. Next. Exsanguinar. Ooh, cool name. It is a 2-speed, 6 stamina, 1-hand sword, main hand. Has an on-use ability. Unleash a flourish of steel and blood, wounding all enemy targets within 8 yards. Dealing 65 shadow strike damage and causing them to bleed for an additional 5 damage every 2 seconds. This is going to be good for tanks. And it looks pretty cool too. It looks like the orc swords from Lord of the Rings.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
Like, imagine you're an orc and you're like, looks like meat's back on the menu. You're like that guy. That's what you are. Very cool. So if I were to rate the number 1 based on just looks, the Paladin 2-hand sword is the best looking sword from this group. Then I would say the War Totem is really cool. The 1-hand sword is really cool too. Also, this mace is pretty cool too. The Druid mace. Mages got the short end of the stick. Priests kind of got, screwed over. Rogues just have cool. They're good weapons. They just look dumb. They're just like very bland. Not that they look dumb. I just don't like them. I think they could have had something way cooler, especially when you have Paladins having such a massive weapon. Like, this thing is insane. That is the PvP gear overlook for the Stranglethorn Vale event in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. Let me know in the comments if you are going to be taking part of the event, if you're going to be PvPing. I know I will. I want this sword so bad on Sholey. Like I said, imagine Sholey, this is him, Sholey, walking around Ironforge with this sword, dude. Ooh. I strut my stuff. Why does my guy look like I'm walking with a limp? I think my Paladin twisted his ankle or something like that. He's limping a little bit. And maybe because the sword is too big that he has to limp a little bit. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.